Hello everyone and welcome back once again to my channel. I'm back with another full flight video for you guys. It has been a little while since I made one for the channel. With the release of the brand new Aerosoft CRJ, I'm finally able to do airline flights again. So today we are taking this beautiful bird from Phoenix to Los Angeles. It's a rather short flight, but then again, the CRJ is a regional airliner and it is exactly the type of flight it was designed for. This flight is also done in real life by American Eagle, the airline that we are flying with today. Our flight number is AA3196 and the flight time should be, according to SimBrief, let me check real quickly, 1 hour and 12 minutes. Very quickly before we start, be sure to do a touch and go on that big red subscribe button along with the bell icon right beside it so you never miss out on any new uploads. Also, don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video and let me know down below in the comments what else you would like to see on my channel. Now, without further delay, let's jump into the flight deck. So, here we are inside the flight deck of the beautiful CRJ700. Let me just remove that armrest right there. And let me just grab my checklist as well. So let's just imagine that our co-pilot is now doing the walk around. So what we have to do first is the safety check. So first we'll check that all of these circuit breakers are indeed closed, which they are by the looks of it. Then nose wheel steering is off, hydraulic pumps are all off, landing gear lever down, flight spoiler lever is retracted, slats and flaps lever is all retracted, radar is off, I believe, ADG manual released is stowed, emergency flap switch is in a normal position, battery master switch can go on, APU we can leave that off for now, AC electrics as required will connect the ground power units, so it is now in use. IRS to nav, we'll do that right now. Emergency equipment, we'll assume that everything is on board. You can see the fire extinguisher right there. Gear and safety pins, we'll assume as well that they are on board. Airplane documents, I have all of the charts with me. Hydraulic 3A pump can go on, that's that one right there. And FMS initialization, we'll do that right now. So we'll go to position init. We are at Phoenix, which is Kilo Papa Hotel X-Ray KPHX. We'll go to the next position and we'll take one of these coordinates. Oops, that's not what I want to do. Position init, thank you very much. Yeah, there we go. Now I've set the IRS alignment time to realistic, so that means it will take somewhere between 7 and 17 minutes, so we'll be here for quite a while. But yeah, in the meantime we have plenty of things to do. So we'll start with initializing the... oh no. Before we do anything in the FMS, we're obviously going to do the originating check, so I'll grab my checklist again. Crew, oxygen and masks, we can check those to see if they work. Which they do on the captain side. What about the co-pilot side? Okay, they seem to be working as well. Audio warning panel, I think that's all okay. Electrical power panel is checked. We are using battery power and ground power. Fire detection, we'll check that real quickly. Looks to be working just fine. External lights panel, we can turn on the navigation light. For now, everything else can stay off. Fuel panel, fuel pumps are off for now. Bleed air panel. Everything is either in the normal, both or auto position, and we can open the isolation valve. APU panel, we can leave that off for now. Start panel, everything is off here as well. Hydraulic pumps, they can all go to auto, and the 3A pump can go to on, which it is. ELT switch is in the arm position. Cabin pressure panel is checked. The manual rate switch is in the most left position, so that's good. Air conditioning panel is checked. We can turn on the bleeds. They will show a fault message for now because the APU isn't running, but once the APU is running, those lights will disappear. Anti-ice panel, we can set the window in the windshield heat to low. Emergency lights can be armed. Standby compass is checked. Nose wheel steering is still off. Clocks are set. We are not gonna use them until we take off. Instrument panels, they are all checked. They seem to be working just fine. So passenger side signs can also go on now. Upper pedestal is checked, and the skid is on. Everything else can stay where it is. Thrust lever quadrant, the thrust levers are in the idle position. Avionics and radio tuning panels, they are all where they should be. Trims are checked, it's in the green. We'll make sure the trim is set later on. Yaw damper, we can engage that, but I think we'll have to do that again after we start the aircraft because it's still giving us the yellow yaw damper message. Source select panel, the source is on FMS1. So there we go, that's the originating check. Now we can continue with the FMS. And let me cancel these warnings real quickly. So like I said, we are departing from KPHX, which is Phoenix Airport. And we are going to Los Angeles today, which is KLAX. The ICAO code almost everyone knows. And our flight number today is AA, let me check real quickly again because I forgot. 3161. Like so, we can execute that, and then we are going to go to the departure page. And according to SimBrief, our departure, we are going to depart from runway 08 on the Keynes to departure. Runway 08, Keynes to departure. And we are taking that to Messi. Execute, back to flight plan, then to the next page, and from there we are going direct to Echo Sierra Tango Whiskey Delta, which is a waypoint I can't really pronounce, so that's why I spelled it out for you. There we go, execute that again, and from there we are going to fly the Hollywood 1 arrival into Los Angeles. So we'll go down to this one right here, Hollywood 1, from this waypoint. And we are going to fly the ILS approach for runway 25 left. There it is. And we are taking that from Seavu. So there we go, that is our flight plan. Now we should be able to use one of these buttons. There we go. We can lower the yoke here and we can go to plan mode. And this page will allow us to step through our flight plan. So the departure looks correct. Seems like we have a bit of a discontinuity there, but that's okay. And then there's our arrival into Los Angeles, which all looks correct, so that's great. So we'll now check for discontinuity. There is one. We can take this waypoint and replace that one, and there we go, that's fixed. So that's everything we need to do for the FMS for now. Now we'll check that we have enough fuel on board for this flight. So to the performance page, SimBrief tells us we need 8,453 pounds of fuel. And we have 8,482 pounds on board, so we have more than enough. And our takeoff weight should be 69.6 pounds. And we should be able to find this right here is our takeoff weight, so we need approximately 4,000 extra pounds, but I doubt I'm going to change that because it's quite a small difference and I don't really know how to use this yet, so I think I'm just gonna leave the weight where it is. So I'm gonna set payload in simulator, even though it's already set, but it doesn't hurt. So we're gonna take off with flaps 8 today on a dry runway because as you can see the weather is quite nice here in Phoenix. Not a cloud in the sky, so we're gonna use a dry runway and I'm gonna press set all the V-speeds. If you really want to, you can set the V-speeds yourself, but in my opinion this is much easier. So we're just gonna do that. And let's assume that the cargo has been loaded already, so we'll close that. And now this seems like a good moment to start the APU, so I'll press the power fuel button. And we'll go down here. The APU in byte message has disappeared, which means we can press the start stop button. And now the APU will start itself up. Oh yeah, and another thing we can do is we can copy the perf init data to the FMS, so we don't have to type it in ourselves. And as you can see, the IRSs have finally aligned, so that's fantastic. And while the APU is doing its thing, we'll go to the perf page to add a couple more things. So if our flex temperature, I believe 47 degrees should be good for this aircraft. And everything else seems to be in order. Our cruising altitude is flight level 380. Execute. And our target speed for the climb should be, according to the FMC, 290 knots, but the last flight I did I also followed this speed and the climb was very slow, so I barely managed to get to my cruising altitude. So today I think I'm gonna use a climb speed of 270 knots instead, so that should be good. That's everything we need to do for the FMS for now again. And we'll also go down here and engage the stabilizer trim and Mach trim. That's all good. We can increase the lights a bit if we want to. There we go. APU is now available, so I'll disconnect the ground power unit and we can also close the doors of the aircraft now. There we go.
Captain, the cabin is secure.
And we can also remove the chocks while we're at it.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the captain and crew, welcome
Flight
aboard
director
this flight.
can go on
We
as
hope
well.
you enjoy
There we
flying
go.
with us. Before takeoff, we would like to encourage all passengers to watch our cabin crew display the safety
So let's
features of the
brief this
aircraft.
departure real quickly before we go. I'll show you it real quickly. This right here is our departure with a top altitude of 8,000 feet. So we are flying the, let me see, the Keynes 2 departure. And we are taking off from runway 08. So let me check real quickly what runway exactly that is. Okay, so it's the most upper runway. So on departure we are going to fly a runway heading of 078 degrees until we are above 1635 feet. Then we're gonna fly direct to the Futep waypoint, then to this waypoint, which I'm not gonna try to pronounce, then to this waypoint, then to Masvi, where we need to be above 7,000 feet and below 220 knots. And then we are going to continue all the way to Keynes, then to Izo, and then finally to Messi. So we'll program that into the MFD, no sorry, the mode control panel. So top altitude 8,000 feet, runway heading of 078 degrees. Like so. We are going to engage nav mode once we reach 600 feet above ground level. Speed is already set at 148 knots, which is, I think, V2 plus 10, so that's good. And everything else can stay where it is right now, so that's fantastic. Oh yeah, we can also arm the thrust reversers now. And that's all we need to do. Let's check that we have the right amount of fuel on board, which we do. And let's also check that the APU is now powering the packs, which it is. So that means we are finally ready to start our engines and get the hell out of here. So I'll call the pushback truck now. And once we start pushing back, oh yeah, one last thing we need to do before we go is set the altimeter, of course, which is 3002. Like so. And also on this side. And we'll also disengage the parking brake now. And we'll wait with starting our engines until we are on the taxi line there. Okay, right about there should be far enough. Parking brake is set. We'll quickly do the before start check. Passenger signs are on. Landing elevation, we'll just leave it where it is because it's quite hard to set in this aircraft. Altimeters are set 3002. 3002 on that side as well. FMS is checked and set. IRS is aligned. Nav, radio and nav aids are set. Takeoff briefing. So real quickly, before during takeoff, every failure before V1 we just stop the aircraft, and if something occurs like an engine failure after V1, we'll take off and solve it in the air. And that's pretty much all I need to say for now. So clear to start. Checklist. Personal electronic def, I don't know what that is, but I guess it's good. APU is on. Electrics are checked. Takeoff data is set. Doors are closed and locked. Beacon is on. I always forget that beacon. Fuel pumps are on. Hydraulic pumps auto and on. Parking brake is set. We are ready to start our engine. So we'll start with the right hand engine. You can hear that the packs automatically turn off. So 20% should be good. We can put the throttle in idle. Now we'll see a rise in N2, ITT and also the N1.
Please pay attention as we display the safety features and procedures of the aircraft in
Here we
case
go,
of an
that's
emergency.
one good engine. Let's make
During
it two.
an emergency, please remain in your seats with your seatbelts fastened and your seats in the upright position. In case of a drop in cabin pressure, breathing masks will drop from the ceiling and should be placed over your head. If there is smoke in the cabin during the evacuation of the aircraft, the walkway emergency lights will display to the exits, which are located here and here. In case of an extreme emergency landing, you will be instructed to get into the brace position, which is executed by placing your head between your knees with your hands over your head. We would also like to remind you that you should turn off all electronic devices. We thank you for paying attention during this brief presentation.
So there we go, we now have two good engines. So after start checklist, generators are in the auto position. Electrics, we'll check that real quickly on the MFD. Both the generators are now powering all of these systems. Bleed valves are in auto. Packs are on. APU, we can turn that off now. Anti-ice is as required, we don't need it for this flight, and nose wheel steering can be armed now. And then the taxi checklist, we'll use flaps 8 for today, so there we go. Flight controls, we'll check those real quickly as well. Full right rudder checked, full left rudder checked, right aileron checked, left aileron checked, full back checked, and full forward checked. Trims, according to our handy dandy EFB here, our trim needs to be 8.0 degrees. Like so. Let's make it 7.9 so the aircraft doesn't automatically try to rotate on us. Thrust reversers are armed, flight instruments are checked, and brake temperature is, I believe, is in the green. Let's try to find it real quick. Brake temperature seems to be fine, so that's all good. And that's all of the checklists we need to do for now. Let's engage the yaw damper now, so that message disappears. There we go. And now we are ready to go. Taxi light is coming on. And we still need to figure out how to get to our desired runway. So we'll make a left onto taxiway Bravo, it seems, and then all the way to runway 8, where we will line up on intersection Bravo 1. So here we are at the runway. Let's just stop here for a second, because we still have some checklists to do before we go. So before takeoff checklists, lights and strobes, all of the landing lights can go on, strobe light can go on as well. Fuel exflow is on manual, I believe. Flight attendant, they are advised. Transponder TCAS, we'll just leave it on 2000, but we can't put it on, I guess we'll just leave it where it is. Radar and terrain display, let's see if the terrain radar works. I don't believe it does in this aircraft, or at least not yet. And gas is checked, all of the things we would expect. We can also turn on the recirc fan, that's something I forgot. So now everything is set where it is, where it has to be. Flaps are set at 8. We have enough fuel for our trip still. So yeah, we are ready to go. Let's quickly make sure there's no traffic to our left and to our right. And we can also press the toga switch already. And we can start our clock. So there we go. According to the windsock we have a headwind, so that's very nice. Here we go, guys. Toga is set. Takeoff thrust set. Airspeed is alive. 100 knots. V1 rotates, and the aircraft already started to rotate by itself there. Positive rate, gear up. And there we go, we're climbing away. Autopilot can come on, nav mode on, and we'll set the speed to 200 knots. Flaps can go to the first position and all the way up. This aircraft definitely likes to climb, by the looks of it. Already going through 4,000 feet. And we can also reduce the thrust now to climb mode, like so. Nose wheel light and taxi light can no longer are needed. And we are on our way to Los Angeles. So there we go, we've already reached 8,000 feet, so let's assume that ATC has cleared us to a higher altitude. Our cruising altitude was flight level 380 for today, so that's what I will set in the mode control panel. And we are already overspeeding the aircraft, it seems. "10,000 feet, landing lights can go off now.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now serving sandwiches.
So that's nice, that they are serving sandwiches in the cabin. Hopefully you guys are also enjoying a little snack during this video. There's 18,000 feet, which means the barometric pressure can go to 2.9 or 9 or 2. Welcome back guys to the flight deck. As you can see, we are about to reach our cruising altitude of flight level 380. Our top of descent won't be until, I would say, another at least 20 minutes. So for now I will cut the video and be sure to grab a snack and enjoy the views I've set up for you. And I'll see you guys at the top of descent. See you later. So guys, welcome back to the flight deck. We are almost about to hit our top of descent. So I think we managed to get to our top of descent in under 20 minutes. And I think that's thanks to the very high ground speed that this aircraft has. As you can see, 406 knots, and if it wasn't for the very strong headwind that we have right now, we would be cruising at I think almost 475 knots. So it's a very fast bird, this CRJ700, as you can see, but that's very nice. So we are getting closer and closer to our top of drop, so what we are going to do is we're going to check our altitude restrictions. So the first one that we need to take into account is the altitude restriction at Hollywood. And that's not the part of Los Angeles, but actually the waypoint that I'm referring to. So we need to be below flight level 320 at the Hollywood waypoint, which is right here, as you can see on the display. So once we hit our top of drop, we are going to start the gradual descent towards the waypoint. After Hollywood, we have a ton of other altitude restrictions that we need to take care of. And yeah, this aircraft doesn't have VNAV, so just like the CRJ700, you will have to do this descent manually using either vertical speed mode or the speed mode. But we'll use vertical speed for this one, since it's I find it a bit easier. So at the Bruin waypoint we need to be below flight level 300 and above flight level 240 and at 280 knots. Then Avatar below 240 and above 190. Then at day we need to be above 170. That's 17,000 feet. Then at Waddup we need to be at 15,000 feet, and then at Nile we need to be above 14,000, and then at Siavu, which is our final, which is the final waypoint of our arrival, we need to be below 14,000, above 12,000, and at 270 knots. And from there we'll fly the approach for runway 25 left, which also has a bunch of altitude restrictions, but we'll get to those in a couple of minutes. For now I'll set the localizer of 109.9. Like so. There we go. That's the ILS frequency for runway 25 left. If it's still up to date at least. Also what we can do in the meantime is set our ref speed. So our VREF is 132 knots today, which isn't too fast but also not too slow. And we're almost at our top of the descent, so what I'll do is I'll set our first altitude restriction, which like I said was flight level 240 at Bruin. There we go. We'll sing the heading up every once in a while as well. And for now, we can still enjoy some of the beautiful views that Microsoft Flight Simulator has to offer. Looks absolutely stunning outside. I just love flying to this part of the world. In America, the mountainous area. And there we go, we have reached our top descent, so I'll engage vertical speed mode. And we'll start a gradual descent of about 1,200 feet per minute. Should be good at first. And we'll reduce the thrust as well. Once we found the ideal vertical speed, we'll also do the descent checklist. But for now, I have to keep an eye on the VNAV profile for a while to see if we are complying with the altitude restrictions. It seems we have to increase the vertical speed even more. Passenger signs can go back on now, since the descent is getting quite steep. Okay, so I think the vertical speed is good for now. Landing elevation, we're just gonna leave it where it is. Fuel is checked. We have 5,280 pounds on board. That should be more than enough to get to our destination in time. TCAS is set, whatever it is. The radar is on as well. Gas is checked, no faults or anything. Landing data, I've set the VREF speed. Approach briefing, we did that earlier, so that's complete as well. And that's the descent checklist. There we go, we've reached 18,000 feet, so what we'll do is we'll set the barometric pressure to the local pressure at Los Angeles, which is 3013, according to the latest weather report. And we'll also set that on the co-pilot side. Like so. And the weather at KLAX is quite good, 12 degrees and with a dew point of 11 degrees, so visibility might be a little weird maybe. The winds are calm and the visibility, according to this weather report, is more than 10 miles, so that's okay. And a cloud ceiling of 10,000 feet above ground level, and also overcast cloud deck at 1,300 feet above ground level. So we might encounter some clouds during this approach, but other than that, the weather seems quite well. Let me set the altitude to 12,000 feet real quickly, which is the altitude restriction at Ceavu. And I'm also going to decrease the speed to 270 knots as per the chart. So after Ceavu, that's the initial fix for the approach that we're gonna fly. From Ceavu, we are going to go to the crane waypoint where we need to be above 10,000. Then all the waypoints after that are going to be in steps of 1,000 feet. So 9,000 at Tarok, 8,000 at Demo, 7,000 at Fuller, and so on and so on. So that's quite easy. And our final altitude will be approximately 1,900 feet. And we should also set our minimum altitude now, which is a decision height of 200 feet. 200 feet, sorry. There we go. And let me also set the altitude to 10,000 feet now. Need to keep an eye on everything now. Oh no. Setting the decision height might take a while at this speed. There we go, that's it. We are still descending as per the chart. 10,000 above will make that. Can decrease the descent rate quite a lot now. And every time you change the vertical speed, you should obviously check your speed and your throttle. And we are getting quite close to Los Angeles now. And at some point, the navigation radio should kick in and the localizer should become visible on our display. But so far, if you press the bearing, the VOR isn't active, so we'll see how this goes. So I'll keep selecting the altitude knob to a lower altitude. And we'll just maintain this descent rate. Also, the speed should go to 250 knots now, since we are going to be below 10,000 feet. And the landing lights should also come on. Not yet the nose light, since the nose gear is still inside the aircraft, so it has no use now. Oh, there we go. There we have a message from the FMC saying that the localizer will automatically be tuned. And there we have it right there. The localizer is the blue thingy on the HSI there. So right now we can engage approach mode, and we'll also start to slow the aircraft down, so we can select some flaps. speed for flaps 1 should be 190 knots. Yeah, we might have to use some speed brakes for this. And our go-around altitude today is 2000 feet, so we'll set that. Like so. First notch of flaps. We'll use some more speed brakes there to help us slow down. Along with some flaps.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to land. Please remain seated until we have stopped.
There we go, now the aircraft is decelerating. Still following the glide slope and the localizer. Next notch of flaps. Gear is coming down as well. And flaps full. And we'll set the speed buck to our VRF speed of 132 knots. Right there. Frames are quite hard in this part of the world due to the city. So before landing checklist, flight attendants are advised, passenger signs are on, thrust reversers are armed.
1000.
1000 feet checked. For some reason we are way too low for this approach. And frame rate is getting real hard now. So landing gear is down and flaps is full at 45 degrees. So yeah, I don't know what happened with the glide slope there, but the aircraft kind of lost track of it. That's okay, we managed to avoid crashing into the floor. Try to maintain our speed of 132 knots. Until we get back on our glide slope, then we will start descending again. As you can see, there are a couple of clouds right in front of the runway, which make it quite hard to see. Okay, so there we have the glide slope again. There we go, visual with the runway.
400. 300. 200. Minimums.
Continuing.
Minimums.
Continue.
Minimums. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Okay, so the frame rate is suddenly really trash, and that kind of ruined the landing for us, but anyway, we are down at Los Angeles. Flaps can go up, and our landing lights can stay on for now because we still need to cross in an active runway.
Please remain seated until the aircraft has come to a complete stop.
Okay, it seems this aircraft does still have some bugs in it, but that's okay. So we'll cross this runway right here. In the meantime, we'll also start the APU again. And we'll just park at one of the gates that we see in front of us. And now the landing lights can go off, as well as the strobe lights. Let's park right here. Taxi lights can go off now. And there we go. Parking brake is set. The probes can be turned off now. Oh, and apparently we never turned them on, so they can just stay off then. APU is available, so it should be powering the aircraft systems now, so that means we can turn off the engines. Like so. The aircraft will obviously start beeping at us. Passenger signs can go off. Let's see what the checklist is here. So, shutdown checklists. Parking brake is on, seatbelt sign is off, thrust level shut off, anti-ice is off, fuel pumps can go off. Beacon can go off as well. Let's see if the N1 is low enough. Yes, it is. Beacon light off. Nose wheel steering can go off as well. There we go. Can also open the doors again.
Door.
Ladies and gentlemen, the door is open. Please make your way to the exit and please make sure you have all your personal items and carry-on luggage.
And there we have it. Doors are now open. The passengers can leave after that quite hard landing there. So yeah guys, that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to do a touch and go on that subscribe button along with the bell icon right beside it so you never miss any of my new content. And if you enjoy videos like these, be sure to leave a like as well. And comment down below what you think of my video. Should I do some other kind of video? Should I do more full flight videos or more challenges? You tell me. And if you want to see more content from me, you can always follow me on my Instagram as well, where I post lots of aviation related content. But yeah, for now, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.